So, a big night of boxing. Usyk confirms that he is definitely one of the greatest of all times. Undisputed, unified at both cruiserweight and heavyweight, beating a man who had, what, a 40-pound weight advantage on him on the night. So, yeah, a really historic, exciting night of boxing. And I felt there was a really, exciting, tense build up to this fight, you know? I thought Fury was going to fight him with a different style than the first time, he put on weight. I thought he was going to go for that crunk style, earmuffs up, walking forward, try and knock him down. So I was excited because I thought the fight would be different. All in all, I actually thought Fury had a better go of it the first time round. I felt that, him being lighter, being able to move more, I thought he had more success in the first fight. In the first fight, I think he won rounds 4, 5, 6, all in one row, pretty convincingly. He built up a bit of momentum, but yeah, in this fight, I only gave him two clear rounds. I'll put my scorecard up on the screen. I maybe gave him 2 string rounds, but even in those string rounds, I thought Usyk had a bit of work. I didn't think Fury used his size effectively. If you're going to put that size on, you've got to walk him down and you've got to hurt him. He didn't really do either of those things. What did he have success in the first fight? The uppercuts, the body shots, didn't really do either. I know it's easier said than done to, to do all these things, but I really thought that Fury was gonna go a bit kamikaze style. I thought he was gonna see it as like a 6-round shootout, empty the gas round in six rounds, try and hurt him, and if you get knocked out, you get knocked out because outboxing him doesn't really work. And I thought Usyk had an easier night's work of it, to be honest with you. I felt that Usyk had to dig a lot deeper in that first fight, I felt like after round 6, Usyk was hurt, he was tired, and I felt like he had to dig a bit deeper to come and have a second win. And then obviously he hurt Fury more. But all in all, I felt like this was an easier night's work for Usyk. I agreed with the scorecards. I thought you can give Fury max 4 rounds with 2 string rounds. So yeah, all in all, I didn't think Fury used the weight to his advantage. I felt like it was either going to help him or hinder him. In the end, I think it hindered him. His feet were just really slow towards the end of the fight. George Groves came up with quite an interesting theory that he hadn't necessarily put the weight on purpose, but it was just like him ballooning up in weight after the first fight, and then this was all he could get down to. So yeah, it looked like the weight wasn't an effective technique, but I give him credit for doing it because I felt like he did have to switch it up. We saw AJ fight pretty much the same fight twice. Didn't work. He didn't work the second time. He should have gone kamikaze style. He didn't do it. And yeah, I think unfortunately for Fury, he says he doesn't care about legacy, but this was a damaging fight for his legacy. He won't be remembered as the greatest heavyweight of all time. Look, everyone's going to remember him for that Klitschko win, which was brilliant. And I do think he deserves credit for the Wilder wins because although Wilder had a bit of a padded record, he did beat Luis Ortiz, who was a good fighter, and I think in his prime, he was highly feared. He was the hardest puncher in the division, but end of the day, Wilder, he knocked him out, but Wilder, slow feet, not very strong, no head movement, lost to a lot of higher opposition guys. The win has definitely gone down in people's estimations. A lot of people were disappointed with Fury in the build-up, talking a lot of shit, being quite disrespectful. I understand you have to hype yourself up for a fight, but it was definitely bordering on disrespectful. And I think, sadly, he'll be remembered for the guy who can beat a guy who was like 30 pounds smaller than him. Unfortunately, I do think that will be the legacy of Tyson Fury. But all in all, I want to give Alexander Usyk a lot of credit because this is the guy he has completed boxing, unified, undisputed at cruiserweight, and then again at heavyweight, beating all the top names, Dubois, AJ twice, Tyson Fury twice. He's done it all. He's definitely just walk away. I think the only fight left for him, if he does want to continue, is Dubois again if he comes through, Joseph Parker, I think if Joseph Parker wins against Dubois, I think that's the only fight for him out there. I don't think you can get back down to cruiserweight. It's really hard to get rid of muscle. Tyson Fury, I think just fight AJ. That's clearly the next fight to make sense. Yeah, there was a little bit of controversy on social media after the fight. Some people thought it was a draw. Some people thought Fury won. But I think that was just people just trying to stir things up because, as I said, I was scoring it like closely and seriously, and I thought that, I gave 2 rounds to Fury. So I thought the judges got it pretty spot on. As I said, 2 swing rounds. And yeah, I thought Fury gave Usyk more problems in the first fight. And yeah, I don't think he used the weight to his advantage enough in the second fight. But look, I don't want to be too harsh on Fury because I understand, Usyk's a difficult night work. And at the end of the day, no one's been able to beat him. I think Maris Bradis was the only person who's come close. I think Usyk only won that by a few points. Maybe even a split decision. But no one at heavyweight's really got close. So yeah, credit to Usyk, and that's a bad man, Imagine being able to say that, like you're the best boxer on the planet, like no one's beating you. That must be crazy. Yeah, I think a bad night for Fury really, to talk that shit, to put on the weight and not really hurt him. As I said, I thought he hurt him more in the first fight. Not a great look for Fury, but yeah, look, I enjoyed the night in general. I felt the build-up was really tense. There was a lot on the line for both people. I was really excited before the fight started. I was like, oh my God, Fury's going to try and walk him down. He's going to hurt him. Can Usyk deal with that? In the end, it wasn't quite that. It was a bit more bivol better Biev in the fact it was like a bit more of a chess match. I thought Fury's defense was better. Like Fury had worked on his defense, but yeah, all in all, didn't do enough to try and hurt Usyk, but obviously hurting Usyk is a very difficult thing to do, so I don't want to be too hard on Fury. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was a good night of boxing. I enjoyed it. I was excited for the main event. The right man won. And yeah, let me talk about the undercard a bit. The only 2 fights on the undercard that interested me really were Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen, and Moses Atama, Dempsey McKean. I did feel Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen, I did feel it was a robbery. I don't like to use that term often, because it's often misused, right? People mistake a close fight with robbery. But this fight, I feel it was a robbery. I felt that Dave Allen clearly won 5-6 rounds. Like, they weren't swing rounds. I felt like they were just Allen rounds. And you couldn't score them to Fisher. And with the 10-8 round, I felt that Allen clearly won. And yeah, he did get robbed on the scorecards, which is very unfortunate, Even if, these guys aren't the two, like most talented boxers on the planet, but, I think a lot of fans fell in love with the story behind Dave Allen. This is like a working class man. He's lost, he's put on some, he's had some poor nights where he's not showing the best of himself, but, he worked hard for, he had a really hard 12-week training camp. If you're following his YouTube, you can see that he was working very hard. And, he fought really well. Like, he used the dark arts really well. He just sort of like old man. Fisher in there used sort of, like tactics, all the survival tactics that he's had from sparring with all the greats. He hurt Fisher. Just really, yeah, I felt really sad for Allen to, get robbed. Would have been a lovely moment for him to, finally get a belt, get a win on a big card. But I guess, what the fans, he would have gained a lot of respect from the fans, after the disappointing night against Fraser Clark. He's put on a good performance. That was a performance to be proud of. And, I think the fans know who the real winner was. So, yeah, all in all, it was an interesting fight. And to be fair to Fisher, he did show a lot of heart. He got up when he was hurt. And I think he would have learned a lot from that fight. But, yeah, just a bit unfortunate he got robbed. But it was an exciting fight. And I think this is a reminder, right? You don't need to be the most talented fighter ever to get on a rare card. If you're exciting, if you got a bit of a story, if you got a bit of a following, you can be a good boxer and you can put on entertaining fights. And the other fight that I was very intrigued for on the night was Moses Atama versus Dempsey McKean. A lot of people have been saying, oh, Moses Atama seems like the real deal. And I was like, purely from a professional boxing in the ring standpoint, I didn't feel like there was enough to really say that, yeah, this guy's the next big deal. Everyone had been talking about sparring him. Lots of people struggled. I remember Lawrence Okolie actually. I think when he was preparing for. He was preparing for a world title fight, and he sparred Itama when he was 15, and he said that he gave him an insanely difficult night at 15, and he was like, "I'm preparing for a world title fight. What's going on here?" But to beat, Dempsey McKean, who went 12 rounds with Filip Hrgovic, who was supposedly the, you know, the bogeyman of the division who gave Dubois a lot of problems in his fight. To knock him out in 1 round is, yeah, impressive. And I've got no doubts that this is the guy, you know. I think this is the future of the heavyweight division. You know, I think this is confirmed that, you know, sparring is one thing, but can he do it on the big night with the nerves, the walkout, the lights, the crowd? And it turns out, yes. Yes, he can. So hats off to Moses Italma. Looks like the real deal. So yeah, those are my thoughts from an exciting night of boxing. The unified heavyweight title fight. So much on the line for both fighters. And yeah, hats off to Usyk, who I think will go down as an all-time great. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.